Is it better to feed your cat wet or dry food? We've got the lowdown on the pros and cons of each so that you can decide which is best for your feline friend. When it comes to choosing between wet and dry cat food, there are a lot of things to consider. Your cat's dietary needs, your budget, your schedule, and your own preferences all play a role in deciding what type of food is best for your furry companion. We'll break down the pros and cons of wet versus dry food so you can decide which option is right for your kitty cat. Let's get started. So what are the differences between wet and dry cat food? Well, the most obvious difference between the two is, of course, the texture. Wet food comes in a can and has a soft, moist texture that's more similar to what a cat would eat in the wild. Dry food, on the other hand, is, well, dry and crunchy, and can be left out for your cat to graze on throughout the day. But the real differences between wet and dry food go a little deeper than just the texture. Here's a look at the pros and cons of each to help you decide which is best for your cat. Let's start with the benefits of wet food. Number 1. Higher moisture content. As we mentioned earlier, wet food has a higher moisture content than dry food, which makes it a better option for cats who are prone to dehydration. In fact, wet food can make up for the water that your cat doesn't consume during the day, helping them stay hydrated and healthy. This is especially important for cats who don't drink enough water or for those who are at risk for urinary tract issues. Number 2. More palatable for picky eaters. If your cat is a picky eater, then you know how frustrating it can be to find a food that they'll actually eat. Wet food is typically more palatable than dry food, meaning that your cat is more likely to find it tasty and satisfying. The strong smell and flavor of wet food can be more appealing to cats, especially those who are losing their sense of taste or have dental problems. Number 3. Easier to digest. Cats who have trouble digesting dry food, such as those with sensitive stomachs or inflammatory bowel disease, may do better on a diet of wet food. Wet food is easier to digest than dry food, so it's less likely to cause stomach upset or other digestive issues. If your cat has ever had a bout of vomiting or diarrhea, you may want to try switching them to a diet of wet food to see if it helps. Now let's take a look at the drawbacks of wet food. No. 1. More expensive. One of the biggest downsides of wet food is that it's more expensive than dry food. In fact, wet food can cost up to 3 times more than dry food, which can make it a challenge to keep your cat on a wet food diet, especially if you're feeding them a high-quality brand. Number 2. Shorter shelf life. Another downside of wet food is that it has a shorter shelf life than dry food. Once the can is opened, the food should be refrigerated and used within a few days. Any leftovers should be thrown away, which can lead to food waste if you don't have multiple cats to feed the leftovers to. No. 3. Less convenient. Finally, wet food is less convenient than dry food. You can leave dry food out for your cat to graze on throughout the day, but wet food needs to be served fresh. This means that you need to either prepare it fresh each day or leave your cat's food out for long periods of time. And we know cats like to be on a schedule when it comes to meal times. Now let's take a look at the pros and cons of dry food. So what are the benefits of dry food? No. 1. More affordable. One of the biggest benefits of dry food is that it's more affordable than wet food. It's much less expensive per calorie than wet food, making it a great option for budget-conscious cat owners. You can also buy dry food in bulk, which can save you even more money in the long run. Number 2. Longer shelf life. Dry food has a much longer shelf life than wet food. In fact, it can last for years if it's stored properly. Just make sure that the bag is tightly sealed and that the food is kept in a cool, dry place. This means that you won't have to worry about food going bad or wasting money on uneaten food. Number 3. More convenient. Finally, dry food is more convenient than wet food. You can leave it out for your cat to graze on throughout the day, and you don't have to worry about it spoiling. This makes it a great option for busy cat owners or for those who travel frequently. Now let's take a look at some of the cons of dry food. Number 1. Lower moisture content. One of the biggest downsides of dry food is that it has a lower moisture content than wet food. This can be a problem for cats who are already dehydrated or at risk for dehydration. Dry food should make up no more than 40% of your cat's diet, and the rest should be made up of wet food or other high-moisture sources like cooked chicken or fish. Number 2, not as palatable. While there are plenty of cats who love the taste of dry food, it's not as palatable as wet food. In fact, many cats would prefer to eat wet food if given the choice. This can be a problem for cats who are losing their sense of taste or have dental problems. Number 3, more difficult to digest. Cats who have trouble digesting dry food, such as those with sensitive stomachs or inflammatory bowel disease, may do better on a diet of wet food. Dry food can be more difficult to digest than wet food, so it's more likely to cause stomach upset or other digestive issues. So what do you think? Will you be switching your cat's food now that you know the benefits of both wet and dry food? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more helpful tips and tricks. Thanks for watching.